Hello, in this video we're going to take a look at Google Drive. This is the first installment of the Going Google series, and we're going to go through all of the various parts of Google Drive specifically to give you a good base as we move on to other parts of the G Suite for Education program. So first thing to do is we need to open up a web browser and we need to go to drive.google.com. As you can see, I already have it open here. So open your browser, go to drive.google.com as I've highlighted here, and you'll need to log in with your calvertcatholic.org credentials if you are not already there. So that's going to be first initial, last name at calvertcatholic.org, and then whatever your password is. And once you get there, you should have a screen that looks similar but with your own files. So the type of things we're going to talk about is the different icons inside of Google Drive, and we're going to look at ways to organize and kind of an introduction on what is what and what you can do with it. So like I said, this is specifically on Google Drive. In other videos, we're going to take a look at the specific applications inside of the G Suite for Education. You may be used to hearing it called Google Apps for Education. They actually recently changed the name. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the icons off to the left-hand side of your screen. Up top, we have New. So this is where you're going to click to create a new file. As you can see, we can do new folder, which is very important for organizing. I've been using Google Apps or G Suite, whichever I'm going to use it interchangeably in this video series. I've been using it for, 7 years or so now. And basically, I wish from the get-go I would have organized better, because now I have files all over the place, and to try and alleviate that, I just started making a new folder every time I make something. But I'm going to give you a few tips on how to organize it. So don't look at my organization skills, because there's just so many files in here that it's not pretty. So new folder, this is where you can create a folder and then add in whatever you want into it. File upload, this is going to be a lot like an email attachment. If you want to take a Word document or a slideshow presentation and upload it to the computer, upload it to Google Drive, this is where you can do that, and you can also do that with a folder. Now the nice part is, if you are using Google Chrome as your web browser, you can do, any browser will do the file upload where you just drag and drop it into Drive. But with Chrome, you can do the folders the same way. So if you have a folder on your desktop with an entire unit full of lessons and anything you need, you can just drag that folder in and it'll upload the entire folder if you are using Chrome. If you are using Safari, Internet Explorer, Firefox, something else, you'll need to use this folder upload button. And then your next three below that are going to be your most common ones: Docs, Sheets, and Slides. And we can also click this and get to some more as well in here. But those are for a different video. Next, we have My Drive. That should be what automatically comes up when you log in. This is going to be all of your files are going to show up right in here. Next is Team Drives. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're actually in a beta program for that. Not all schools have access to Team Drives yet. I believe it's supposed to be coming before the school year comes around, but it's kind of neat that here we are, calvertcatholic.org, a little school in Northwest Ohio, and we have access to something that not everybody does. Next is Shared With Me. This is going to be the location where all files that have been shared with you, whether it's from myself, other teachers, or from your students, they're going to show up in this Shared With Me tab right here. Recent is going to display in chronological order the most recent files you have worked on. Google Photos is an area where you can save photos. I don't really use it myself, but if you're wanting one place to have all of your photos, that's a good option right there. Plus it's backed up in the cloud. Always a good thing to do. Starred, we'll show it a little bit more when we get to looking at the different menus, but Starred is something you can do with important files that you want to revisit later. That's going to take all your starred items and put them in one area for you to quickly get to them. And Trash, that's pretty straightforward. Anytime you get rid of an item, it's not deleted until you empty the trash, just like your personal computer. The next icons we want to take a look at is top right, up in here. First thing, you'll see my face here. On your screen, you'll probably see the first initial of your first name. So you can change that in your profile settings to actually be your picture or whatever you would like. But that picture that's associated with it's going to show up on all of your G Suite products when they want to see who owns the file or that. Next to the left is going to be notifications. You can have notifications set up for anytime somebody shares something with you, or if a student turns in something in the classroom, you can have notifications set up there to pop up and let you know. Next, this is my favorite one. This is the waffle, as some of us nerds call it. This 3x3 square kind of looks like a waffle, so that's why we call it that. That's not an actual Google name. But if we click on that, you can see we have quick access to all of the G Suite products. So we can quickly get the drive or the mail or calendar or create, we can see all of these and then quickly create. Okay. Next, we have settings. So there's a few things there that you can do. You can get administrator help. View details is going to pop up a bar right here to the right that gives you details on account activity, recent account activity. And in this button, I am currently in list view, If I click this button, it'll go to grid view, which will be thumbnails. So if you have all of your files set up, you would see a thumbnail of the actual file itself. So if you can't remember exactly what it's called, but you remember what picture it was, you can scroll through quickly and find that way. Okay, the next thing to get into is the menu click. There's two ways to get the menu to pop up. If we just click on a file, right here, we have a wide variety up here. We have the create shareable link. So this is going to give you an actual URL that you can share with people. We can have share with giving direct access, specifically to one person as opposed to emailing a link. We can remove. Notice it doesn't say delete, it says remove. So it's going to move it to the trash, but it's not going to actually get rid of it. And here are the rest of the actions that are available. Open with, so if you have a Word document, you can tell it to open with Google Docs instead. Move to, this is a very important tool for organization. You can take a file, hit this move to button, and then move that into a different folder. Here is that star I was talking about earlier. So if I add a star, that's going to bring it up in the start menu over here. Change color. This, for some people, is the most important tool for organization. You can color code your items, like if you have different content areas or different classrooms or different organizations that you're working with. Like maybe I'm going to take all my student council files and I'm going to mark them with this rainy sky, they call it. I would just say blue. But so play around with that. If color coding is something that works for you. Rename, that's pretty straightforward. If you want to change the name of the file, like if you made a copy of something, it's going to say copy of file. So if you hit rename, then you can change the name of that file. View details is going to give you the history, like I said earlier, off to the right-hand side, give you the history of that file. And then download is going to take everything in that folder or that document, whatever you have there, and it's going to download a local copy to your computer. So if you're going to go give a presentation somewhere and you don't know if Wi-Fi is going to be available and you have a Google Slides presentation created, you can download that file using that button there, and it will be able to be opened in PowerPoint so that if there's no Wi-Fi, you can still give your presentation. So that's very important, always something to have on your mind if you're going to be giving a presentation, to have that backup plan for a local copy. And things, a lot of times, here at school, we have really, really great bandwidth for doing things on the internet. We barely even tap halfway mark of speed. So we don't really have to worry about it. But if you go somewhere else, they might not have as fast of internet, even if you're at home. So having a local copy, the downside would be any changes you make to the file on your computer is not going to be reflected in the cloud necessarily. So just something to keep in mind there. The other way we can get to the menus, well, that's another thing to talk about here. We have these column headers up top that we can organize by. So name will go alphabetical. Owner, well, since I'm in my drive, they should all be by me. Last modified by me is going to kind of do the recent thing where we can see the oldest file or whatnot. Let's go back to where it was. Get back on. Okay. So if I have a file and I use two fingers, I usually use my middle two fingers here, and I hold them close together and I tap on my trackpad, it's going to bring up a menu. All the same options that we looked at up here are going to be available right inside this menu click as well. So open with, like I said, you can have the different apps and open a Word document inside of Docs. Share. So if I want to share this with somebody, it's going to bring up this menu, and I can, as you can see, this is shared with kids that were in your book. And another thing to note while we're talking about that is this is where the shared with me is going to be. If you've been at Calvert for a few years, every year I make a different folder called CCS Photos and then the school year. So if you go to the shared with me, you should be able to find those folders if you've been at Calvert in the past. And I use that as a place where I put all the photos that I take, and I'm just hoping that teachers and staff and people will add pictures as well, because this is where I usually pull photos for any marketing videos that I put together for the school, as well as our website and maybe even social media and stuff like that. So it's good because it's backing up your files, your photos, and it's giving access to everybody that has, well, I share it with everybody that works at Calvert. So if I wanted to share this with a specific person, all I have to do is type in their name, and you'll see it pop up as you're typing. So a few things to note. Here's that Create Shareable link as well. So if I click on that, you'll see we have different options here. So anyone at Calvert Catholic Schools with the link can view. Now there's a big thing to notice because there's view and there's edit. So view means they can't do anything. All they can do is look at it. So if you're wanting somebody to just see a file that you've made or see your photos and you don't want them to be able to delete or add anything, you'll want this can view. So if you're sharing something with parents, use the can view button. If you're collaborating with somebody and you want them to proofread or add in their own sections, that's where can edit is going to be important. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that back off. I don't want that right this second. Okay, so if we're adding people, we can start typing their name in. You'll see it pop up there, and then we can add a note. And then you'll notice down here it says notify people. So if that is checked, they're going to get an email saying that. And then you would just simply hit the send button. So I don't need to do that with this file. I just wanted to give you a demonstration on how that works. Okay, let's see what else we had in the menu. Click. Okay, we showed you share, showed you get shareable link. Move to, like I said earlier, this is for organization, being able to move a file or folder into another folder, different area. The add star is still here, the change color, rename, view details, download, and remove. So all the same options, you'll just notice that they're all in one line here as opposed to these most common ones, and then you have the 3 dots to bring down your other actions. So either way you do that is fine. Next thing to take a look at here is going to be team drives. So like I said earlier, we are part of a beta program that's doing team drives. And the important part about team drives is if you're working with files, you have what's called ownership. So if I create a file, my account is listed as the owner. So for example, we have like our online registration forms or our handbook, something like that. If I'm the one that's uploading them and creating them, even if I'm collaborating with others, if I'm listed as the owner, and let's say I took off, got a different job, and the next person that comes in takes my position, deletes my account. Well, if they delete my account, any file that I own is deleted along with it. Doesn't matter how many people I shared it with. If I'm the owner and my account is deleted, those files will be gone. So what Team Drives does is not only give you better organization because it's in a whole separate different area, but you can have groups set up like administration. You can see over here I have 10 members that are in that. That's our administrative team, and we have things like handbooks in there so that we can all work together. And with Team Drives, the ownership of the files in the Team Drive is to the organization. So whether I leave or superintendent leaves or a priest leaves, any files that they've created and added into this folder will always be there because the school, calvarycatholic.org domain has ownership of the files. So that's very, very important for longevity and keeping things current and not having to recreate the wheel every time there's a little bit of turnover. So obviously in schools that's an issue. It's even more in business if they have different marketing teams, sales teams, all that type of stuff. They don't want to lose all the stuff that somebody else may have already made. So you can see I've got 3 of them in here, and you can make your own and share it. Maybe you'll have one with all the same content area. Maybe if we wanted to have a PK to 12 health, or PK to 12 English language arts, we could have a Team Drive in there where we have different folders that break it down, and all those files are retained ownership to the school in the long run. So that's the basis of Team Drives and why it's so important. It's very handy. I do not recommend using it for class content to share with students. Okay, it's set up so that if there's a member, so I have the 10 members in there, I can easily delete one or add one. But as soon as somebody has that, they have access to those files. It's not the best for using if you want to share files with students. Use Google Classroom for that, and that's going to be a different video in the long run. But we'll get there. We got to start with Google Drive to give the basics. Next thing I want to take a look at is creating new. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, just to show, I'm going to make a file in here. Well, I need to add a member. I'm going to use my network admin account that I typed in earlier. See that, and you can change their rights. So the same thing, they can full access, so they can manage members. Edit is going to, like I said earlier, be able to edit files. Comment access means that they can just comment, and view access, they can only view. So I'm going to give full access to that account. And you can actually skip some notification, which is what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and add. All right, now I'm going to create a new file. This is the same whether you're in Team Drives or Google Drive. I'm going to create a document. Okay, here I just want to show you how real-time collaboration works. I'm not going to get too in-depth with using Google Docs right now. That's for a separate video that we'll talk about. But the basic as to why the wow factor with using Google Docs, to me, is the real-time collaboration. So you can't see it over here, but I have another computer where I'm logged into that KAdmin account. I'm just going to call this demo file. And now you can see me typing on this KReineman account. And if you watch up here, as I get logged in the other account, you will see it's still logging in over here. I see it's a little confusing because both of them are listed as Kevin Reineman as the name. But here, if I go like this, I'll delete this. Let's go down here with this one. You can see I can have 2 different computers typing at once. So if you're collaborating on a lesson plan, or if you have students that are working on a document, if you're having small group work, this is a very, very important feature so that you don't have to have one kid working on the file Okay, stop. Now you need to type on it. So let's switch our seats and stuff like that. They can work on their laptops or even on their iPads and have that real-time collaboration for creating a file. Prime example is if they're working on a presentation, a slideshow together. It used to be, okay, I did my 3 slides. I'm going to save it to this flash drive and hand it over to you. Then you get to do the next 3. Well, now you just have one that they're both open, and they can just work on one account doing slides 1 through 3, and the other one's doing 4 through 6. And just an example there of the ease and efficiency, I think, is a key word there, because that's going to save so much time for them to be working on it at the exact same time. Plus, they can see the different themes that they're working with and just make a real nice looking presentation. So that's our introduction to Google Drive. The rest of the series, we're going to be looking at forms, at docs, a little bit of spreadsheets, some add-ons and stuff. Shout out to different add-ons. I'm actually using a Google add-on called ViewBit right now to make this video. It's a little different than videos I've done in the past. It adds, as you can see, the picture of me down in the corner. So I think that's a handy thing to do if you're going to be working with your students and want to create tutorial videos. Maybe you're doing a flipped classroom or something like that. So I hope you took something from this video, and I'll create an assignment for you, and you'll have a little bit of homework to do. Have a great day.